They granted a private group of bankers, known to you and me as the Federal Reserve, the right to counterfeit money on him, diluting our wealth and ensuring the catastrophic collapse of our economy. Are we going to stand for that? They've taken over our schools. That's the worst part of it, the minds of our children. A function reserved to the people and to the states by the 10th Amendment. And they insisted that no child be allowed to advance beyond any others in order to ensure equal ignorance and illiteracy. Did we tell them it was all right to do that? Do you anybody here know where the education clause is in this Constitution? I've never seen it. They've turned their backs on our nation. They've forgotten about preserving our sovereignty of both our borders and our interests. Sacrificing it, giving it up to the United Nations, sacrificing it, allowing an inflow of aliens that are illegal. What part of illegal do they not understand anymore? I welcome immigrants to the American dream, but there's a legal way to go about doing that. They merge themselves with interests of other oligarchies, even if they have to go in and invade another country in order to create their own power base there, in hopes of enlarging their power to a new world order. This is at the expense of the sovereignty of our nation, at the expense of our freedom, at the expense of our liberty, and even at the expense of the blood of our daughters and sons. Did we permit them to do that? Brothers and sisters, veterans, those checks that we gave them were to pay for freedom, not power. These people are thieves. These people are embezzlers. These people are murderers. They've forsaken their sworn duty to represent our will and to preserve and respect our freedom and our rights, and they sold this country down the river to self-destruction. All just strictly to serve their own self-aggrandizement and self-enrichment. I call that treason. Treason. No, we did not give them permission to do any of those things. And neither did the Constitution get permission to do any of those things. But whenever these little despots, these little Negroes, these usurpers, these nefarious ruffians and their army of parasites and vermin, Barak rats, ignored our rights, when they destroyed, undermined, and displaced our right to govern ourselves as separate, free, sovereign, and independent states, when they pilfered and shredded our freedom, our personal dignity, our property, our labor, and everything else they could steal save our souls, did we do anything to stop them? Well, I've got good news for us. I've got bad news for them. There won't be any more days like that. You heard the phrase, it's time to man up and face it, man up and do it. Well, it's time to American up. Are you ready to American up? This is a new day, a new resurgence of liberty. A new take charge we the people has now shown up. And we're not going to permit this to continue. We want our freedom back, and we will not be denied it, not today, not tomorrow, not ever again. We want our free, independent, and sovereign states back. And we will not be denied, not today, not ever again. We want this bloated government and its insatiable appetite for our freedom and our wealth to get back in its constitutional box. And we will not be denied, not today, not ever again. So how do we get this back? What a big task. Look how big they are. Look how big we are. We're a lot bigger. There are more of you right here than all the people in Congress. But we're going to get it back the same way we lost it. We're going to get it back one little bit at a time. We're going to get it back in the smallest piece. We're going to get it back in big chunks. We're going to get it back any way we can. And the more we get back, the easier and the faster we'll get back the rest of it. The same way as the more they've stolen, the easier and faster they've been able to steal it in the first place. We know what this oligarchy has done. This is the oligarchy our founding fathers warned us about. We didn't listen. Now we've got some making up to do. Now we've got some catching up to do. We know the repulsive and destructive spawn of this unholy marriage of big government and big money. And we know that it's out to destroy our nation. And still, the problem is that the giant sleeps. The giant that is we the people is asleep. Our first step must be to wake this sleeping giant called America. Donald Odo, on turning his task force around and heading back to Japan, said, I fear that all we have accomplished is to awaken a sleeping giant. Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, when they crammed the death care plan down America's throat, should have been going back home and saying the same thing, because that's what they've done. We have to begin by breaking the chains of slavery that have been placed on us. The notion that the government owns our labor, that the government owns the fruits of that labor, and is entitled to dole the fruits of that as though any that we receive would be something we would be grateful for from our masters. No. We're not slaves. We're not anybody's slaves. We're Americans.